Season 2. We're 8 weeks out from the Singapore show. I'm putting it on the screen which show I'm doing. I'm gonna show you guys everything that I'm doing today. We're literally 8 weeks out and I'm gonna document this entire process. My dieting, my cardio, my training. By the end of the season, you will know exactly what it takes to get to single-digit body fat. I'm making this series for people who wanna be inspired, but also for people who wanna learn how to do this and how to be able to go from 30% body fat to single digit. Step number 1, caffeine is your friend. And I'm breaking my own rule. The rule's meant to be broken, but I won't, like, you shouldn't do this. My wife is laughing because she knows I shouldn't do this.
Don't do this.
So, sleep is very important. And a very easy method and rule you can know to get good sleep that should help with your sleeping routine is what we call a 10-3-2-1 method. 10 in the 10-3-2-1 means the last time you want to consume caffeine is 10 hours before bed. So I usually sleep at 10 p.m. at latest, like falling asleep eyes closed, which means the latest I can have caffeine is midday. And right now it's 1 p.m. So that's why Nasty is giving me the looks. 3 hours before bed, you want to have your last meal. 2 hours before bed, last liquids. 1 hour before bed, no blue light. But I like living a bit on the edge. I'm gonna regret that tonight. Anyway, first thing we're gonna have is pre-workout. I'm gonna get some steps because meetings the entire day, and then we're gonna go train, and I'll take you guys through with training. And yeah, just tell you guys what the strategy is for 8 weeks out. I am now a pro, and I'll be doing my first ever show as a pro. And probably my last show ever. Last ever. I need to move on into different things in my life. I need to get babies and stuff. Look at this.
Chicken?
Smallie. Oh baby. Oh,
There's the baby. Where's the baby?
Oh baby. No, we don't have any plans for kids, but you know, those are the things we need to start thinking about. So we're gonna do steps, and the book I'm reading right now, which I'm close to finishing, I'll finish this today, is a book titled Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. I got this from M, and it's a good book. It's a compilation of different stories as a CEO that he's faced and how he dealt with those scenarios. So for example, he teaches you, okay, how to hire, what you should ask, and what was the experience in that story. He teaches you what you need to make a deal. He teaches you what your greatest bargaining tips are. So for example, he said the strongest bargaining tip you can have in any deal is the willingness to walk away. So when you're willing to lose the deal, you'll always be able to get the max out of it because you're also showing that you don't really want it or don't really need it. So it's something you can leverage. But yeah, this is the book I'm reading. I think we have a good like 50 pages. I'm gonna do that walking. And then we'll go do training downstairs. This is a good part. How to get to know a celebrity. The trick is to avoid the fan syndrome and treat them like human beings. Find their interests, find where their interests lie. You can bet it isn't about talking what they do for a living. Does your doctor like to talk shop at cocktail parties? Which is very, very true. Even myself, not to say I'm a celebrity, but I've worked with celebs. There was a time I would notice that I had that bit of fan syndrome. I had a much better relationship with them when I didn't have to talk about what they do all the time. So, it's a good book. I'm taking you guys through a workout. Focus on form, focus on challenging yourself with strength, and walking mid-sets. So we're gonna dive straight into it. Today, we're going to be focused on mainly our pull, which is mid-back, and biceps, right? But whenever I start training, I always like starting with my abs, so I'll show you that. So, I'm gonna show you guys the best way to do a cable crunch. I like using the D handles more because it puts my wrist in a favorable position. And the main function of any ab exercise is spinal curvature, spinal flexion. So I'm trying to curl into my abs as much as I can. So I like putting it behind my head, and I don't attach my hand specifically to my head, but I like keeping it in a fixed position. And what I'm thinking about is trying to curl my head into my belly button, and I'm just focusing in on my body, creating this curvature, and then I'm also controlling the relaxation. So let's go into it. And usually you just want to take one step back and get here with a pulley, and then get your hip in a 90-degree angle. Now, all I'm gonna do is, this stays fixed, and I'm curling it. One, and exhale. Usually for abs, only takes about 20 seconds. You only need about 20 seconds rest. Cable crunches are amazing for the upper abs, right? Now we're gonna focus on the lower abs using leg raises, 3 sets. And I'm gonna show you with leg raises. If you're a beginner, then you wanna do the lying leg raise. This is easy if you're a beginner, just this. Intermediate. So work your way up. And this is how we easily get steps. Look at your workout and move around. And I'm already studying my next exercises, so I don't have to look at my phone as often. It will take time, right? If you find yourself swinging, it'll take time till you develop that core stability. So again, start with a laying leg raise. If you don't have that stability, develop that core strength, move on into the hanging knee raise, and then to the hanging leg raise, okay? The most important thing is the quality of the exercise, especially in the beginning, versus the weight. And again, what we're doing is with the laying leg raise, we're just dealing with our legs' gravity, right, to the ground, which isn't so much. But when you do hanging knee raise, you're pushing the gravity here, right, which increases the weight, the center of gravity, that is. When you do your hanging leg raise, you're pushing the center of gravity even further, increasing the weight. When you're pulling up, you want to be able to make sure your chest is sticking out. So you make sure with a pull-up, the main objective is to work on your lats. And I make sure that I'm getting my lats engaged. And usually with any pulling method, you want to just focus that you're pulling with your elbow. But in this case, because we're using our upper body, I just make sure and think if my lats are engaged and if I'm using my back to perform the exercise versus my biceps. For those of you who can't do a pull-up yet, you can use a resistance band for an assisted pull-up. So let me show you guys how to do an assisted one for beginners. So usually you can maybe use 2 bands, but just to show you. So this will help you if you're a beginner because it'll create resistance upwards. Put it into the middle of your foot, then grab it here. And then this will help you pull up. As you can see, it's much easier. So just get a resistance band if you're a beginner. Notice how I pinch my scapula and then my chest is pointed out. So that's my lats worked. Now we're gonna move on into the third exercise to focus on lower back. It also targets your hamstrings and glutes, and that'll be RDLs, right? Romanian deadlifts and dumbbell Romanian deadlifts. So this is how I do it. You see, don't do this. You don't want yourself slouched. Retract scapula, pinch them together, weights in front, and then you want to keep your neck neutral. Let me show you guys how to pick up heavy weight. Bring the weight as close as possible to you. Bend your knees, keep your torso straight, right, like you're about to do a deadlift. Scapula retracted. Yeah! Next exercise is supposed to be chest supported T-bar row. We don't have that. So I'm gonna try and mimic the movement and do the exact same movement, but without the equipment. So if you don't have that machine at your gym, you can just go. Take this. Do here. And then this will support your chest. And instead of having the machine, you're just gonna use dumbbells and you're gonna row. If you don't have like my grip strength, you can see I have quite a pump. If your grip strength struggles, then I highly recommend wraps. So if you search on Amazon Versa grips, you can use those. And I'm a size medium to large. I would say size small is for ladies, right? For a smaller wrist, and then medium to large, I recommend for the men. And then I'm gonna picture like I'm pulling from my elbow. So I'm gonna show you guys why most people's backs don't get developed. The main principle of all rowing movements is to contract your back, but most people end up using their arms. So this is what most people do, right? And what happens is, because you do this, a lot of the weight is translated into your arms. But you don't want that. You want the weight to be translated into your back. All back movements, I primarily, especially with rowing, is a scapular retraction movement. You want to retract your scapula, then you can see your back is being utilized, and then you want to row. So we'll retract scapula, and then to get that last little bit to squeeze out the lemon, you then row, which will decrease arm involvement and improve back contractility. Whew. The next workout is going to be a lat pull down. But as you can see, this gym doesn't have a lat pull down. So with any workout, find the equal alternative, right? Because essentially with a lat pull down, your main objective is to use your hand as the grip. And for your lat, right, if you take it to shorten the muscle of the lat and contract it and pull from this angle here. So I can create the same movement and mimic it with a cable machine. 3 sets between 8 and 12. This would be neutral grip when you have both palms facing each other, but a lat pull down is the normal grip. So I'll grab this here as the one side of the machine and here. And now watch how we do a lat pull down. And again, in my mind, I'm picturing that there's a string on my elbow and the string is pulling. The next exercise is a chest supported rear delt fly. So basically it's the machine you grab this way that you normally do a pec deck with, but when you reverse it you can do a rear delt fly with a chest, but we don't have that. So I'll show you a good alternative. So the main muscle you're trying to activate is your rear delt, and you want this activation. Research has shown that a neutral grip compared to this grip here gives you greater activation. What I'm gonna do, pick a lighter weight. You don't have to have the heaviest weight. So now we're done with our back. We're gonna go into our biceps. So first one will be low cable curl with a D handle. And I'm gonna take a step away from the pulley to create a bit of tension, and then we will curl. And then the last exercise will be a unilateral dumbbell preacher curl. So you can use a bench like this. So now, waist trainer and the cardio. And I like dressing like this so I can sweat. love this place, man. It's like heaven. I remember a time where I shared one room with 4 other guys, and this was like all a dream, like I promise you. Still feels like it. That's the end of cardio. Today I had to bunch it up, but anyway, what's important to look at is total steps, so 18,800. 8 weeks out, the wind is shit, huh? I've looked like this the whole year, huh? One whole year looking fly. I was thinking about it, bro. You know, you see a lot online like, oh, you can't maintain this physique. Okay, like if you have muscle tissue on your frame, the chances is higher, right? So I've been doing this for 10 years. I have a good amount of muscle, but it really is like maintenance of discipline. I realized like when I cut out the alcohol fully, like I haven't drank in 13 months. No, I lie, like 16 months at this point. It's about to be a year and a half. Then weight management is easier, and when you're eating the food you enjoy on season and off season, you're also not gaining unnecessary fat tissue. So Lean 365 is the thing. But I'm gonna jump in the sauna now, and I'll do 2 sessions of 15 minutes. I have my calls in 2 hours from now. So 2 sessions of sauna, and then I have my first meal. Whew. Let's go. Session number 1. So what I like doing, I'll go to the timer, 15 minutes, and then I'll press start when I get in, or right now. See you guys upstairs. Meal number 1, going in the microwave, pumpkin and lean ground beef, and then the water I'm gonna consume. So, let me show you guys my meals that are prepped for the rest of the day. So here's my second pumpkin meal. Second meal is, and this I'll have right before I go to bed, a simple steak with onions, and that'll keep me full through the night. For my sweet tooth, we have a wonderful PB2, and that's my macros. Well, 1 meal and a snack, well, 2 snacks. So that's my meals, man. Those are my meals. I'll do a whole full day of eating, and I'll give you guys macros and how I prepare it. But in about 20 minutes, I'll go into my meeting, and then I'm just gonna knock out. So I'm gonna sign out here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.